Hello, hello. How are you guys? It's Wednesday, time for Spiritual Light, and today it is 29th of January. It's 9 o'clock here in Ireland and in the UK. Our friend Charles won't be with us today. He has another commitment on the spiritist side, so he's giving a speech in a spirit center in Portugal, which is good. He's spreading the word. It's fine. So he's on duty as well. That's the good thing. So today it's Silvia and I. Elsa perhaps gonna join us some stage during our call. And today's topic it is human life and spiritual progress. Human life and spiritual progress. It's it's one of my favorite topics because give us kind of insights about us today, what we need to do, what's happening, why progress, what it is progress. So yeah, we'll talk about it. But meanwhile, good evening, Miss Gibbons. How are you, my dear?
Good evening, Stevan. Good evening, everyone who will be listening to us today and, in other times. It's nice to be here again. The week seems to go so quickly. So it's nice to be able to come back and talk about this subject, which is a very interesting subject because mostly, we separate the spiritual life, your religious life, from your real life. and there isn't such a thing. We don't have a separation. Everything we do is connected, and our spirituality and everything, and our human experiences all has to do with the other spiritual development. So it's a very important subject, I think, for us to talk about. And and maybe if anyone's there and like to say something, ask a question, or you know participate, would be nice.
Yes. Yes, good. Good, good. Very good. So, first thing first. Um, we we find this this topic mainly in the Spirit's book. We can say is in chapter 1, part 2, around questions 110 onwards. Okay, and we can start by saying what's the connection between human life and spiritual progress. Human life, we can change this word to the word reincarnation. So, the human life we have because we needed to reincarnate, and with the reincarnation, we needed to develop some, let's say, moral skills, and this will allow us to progress, will allow us to go to the next phase, like a video game. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, so we need to evolve. And you may have asked now, so why we need to reincarnate, we cannot evolve in the spiritual world? Because we need to put ourselves in we need to challenge ourselves. If I'm not wrong, Silvia, this is one of the questions Kardec asked to the spirits in the spirits book. why we need to reincarnate. And um, I'm saying we need to reincarnate because the only way to prove that we learned the lesson, we know what we are doing. Oh, well, just 1 second, because our dear Elsa is with us. Hey, my dear, how are you?
Hello, Stevan. My computer was updating. I'm so
No
sorry.
worries.
I'm so sorry.
No
Hello,
worries.
Silvia.
Yeah, good, good. You are here. That's the most important. Good evening to Realia as well. It is with us. Good. So we needed this incarnation in order to put in test, to test ourselves if what we learned it is right. It's like going to school. When you have the classes, the teacher is giving you the classes, explaining you how it works, blah 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 blah. At the end, she gives or he gives you a paper with a test just to measure what you assimilate, what you capture from that class. The same with the reincarnation. When we are in the spiritual world, we are not limited. Let's say too limited. We can expand our conscience, so we see things a little bit more broader, and it's easy for us to identify. Oh, I need to work at this. I need to change this. I need to to do something here. I need to narrow here. And when you incarnate, that's the beauty. You don't remember anything. You needed to apply everything you said. You're gonna change. You're gonna improve yourself. You're gonna uh, 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 um, put something in the past. So that's why it is important. So, my dear Gibbons, if you want to complement anything,
Well, I think, I was thinking about a quote by Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. He was a priest, a Jesuit priest from France. And he was the one who coined the phrase that we are not material beings living a spiritual life, but we are spiritual beings living on a corporeal life. And I think this is very, very important because that's exactly what we are. We are basically, we are spirits who, for a reason, as you were saying before, are living a corporeal life, are living here on earth because we need to learn. And in many ways, the earth is like a school that we go to. We go to learn, we are tested, the knowledge that we have. And I was just saying about uh, having lived before and having experiences before, what we call reincarnation. Uh, all the things that we have learned in our past, we are, we are being tested on that. And we're also forming a new life. Today, what we do, what we learn, how we relate to people in our lives that come into our lives, or people we don't even know, how we relate to the world and to life itself with the other people, with our family, friends, work colleagues, whatever. We are today creating a future because we will reincarnate, we will be born again because we need to learn new lessons. So every time we come here, we come for a mission, a work to do. It's very, sometimes people think that missions are something, excuse me, only enormous things, but it's not. Each one of us have a mission, a work to do, something we have to learn, something we have to teach, because in the Spirit's book, the spirits teach us that we are created beings, but we are also creators. So is this connection of creating and being created that we are forming new things, we are acquiring new knowledge, and all this knowledge, all these experiences, all the difficulties we have. Sometimes we have happy times, sometimes things are very challenging and painful. Those are all part of the lessons that we have to learn to forge our spirit, to make us more empathic, more understanding, more loving, more connected, because we are growing spiritually. I think that's an important thing, because God created us with a light, with the intelligence, with the spiritual light that we have, but he gave us free will, so we make our choices, and our lives are a consequence of the choices we make all the time. And this is a point that is very important for us to realize, that we ourselves are creating the lives that we are having. Our happiness or unhappiness depend on us. And I think this is a very important point that Spiritism teaches us, because almost every other religion that I know talks, and even Christianity, and sometimes Christianity are taught in such a way that really the teachings of Jesus are completely lost. I think was that expression, I get lost in Christianity, because the interpretation of this harsh, this vengeful God, even that we see it in the Old Testament. Real Christianity, the real teachings of Jesus, is a completely antithesis to that. And I think one of the things that Spiritism, as the third revelation, that was going, as Jesus had promised, that he was going to send the consoler to remind us the things that he taught and the things he couldn't have, wasn't able to teach at the time. I think the first thing to understand is that there is no punishment, there is no hell, there is no being sent to eternal damnation, there is no such a thing. Each and every one of us, even, and sometimes it's very difficult for us to conceive that. I must say that I feel very difficulty in understanding the meaning of it sometimes, because we see such a horrendous thing, such a cruelty in words sometimes, and you think, oh, will they deserve? I mean, they are so horrible. No, they will be. They will change. Things will happen. Life, whatever, because we live the law cause and effect. What we do is what we get back. So eventually, even the ones who commit the most horrendous crimes, they will get tired of it. And that is the moment that they will change and they will start a new road. And that there is redemption to everyone, because we are children of God. We are light, we're spirits of light, and we are going to be back to light. But between, being created to the time that we are there, close to God, there is a lot of things, there is a lot of learning to do in between those days. And the better we do for goodness, if we can find in our heart sometimes to forgive, and this is all good things, and that is redemption. That's the thing. Also, I think another thing that I find personally very important is that God does not punish anybody. There is no such a thing of this. God is destroying things because you said something funny against him. There is no such a thing. God is beyond humanity. We cannot even understand it. We can conceive. But the ones who punish us is our own conscience. And I think, in question 621 of the Spirit's book, I try to remember this because it's too important. Kardec asked the spirits, where are the laws of God written? Because they were saying that we suffer when we go against God's laws. And the answer, as very, very always, the spirits are very objective. It said in your conscience. So it's our own conscience that we ask to be to learn the new lessons. So it's not I think like you were saying, Stevan, before about reincarnation. Reincarnation is not punishment. You don't come
No.
here because it's a karma. It doesn't have such a thing. That's a thing that's not well understood. No, we come here to readdress the wrongs we've done in the past. We to learn new lessons, and so we can, in a way, polish ourselves and to become who we truly are, a
Yes.
spirits of light. So I think
Yeah.
that's important for us to understand, because the idea of this punishment, that you're going to be relegated to eternal damnation for the rest of eternity is what sometimes puts a lot of people off.
Or even worse, you're gonna sleep for the eternity until the last final
Exactly.
judgment.
Yes, but I mean, mostly there is. I think there was a Dutch painter from, from the 14th century or something, if I remember well, and he had a son as well. So Peter the Elder and Younger or something, and some of his paintings are terrifying. I don't know if you've ever seen it, and he still works like those, paintings that they're open, and. Oh, it's terrible. How funny. We know that there are very hellish places in the spiritual world. We know that. Um, but it's not eternal. It's not that eternal. And also, will depend on us if we go there or not. Nobody sends you there. Your own conscience does. So I think this is important for us to understand, isn't it, Elsa?
Exactly. See where you pointed about the evil, about the criminals, etc. And I was is reading this afternoon the Spirit's book. And every time that I read a question or a page or a chapter, I am amazed. I am amazed how it encompasses all the lessons that we need to know and the question that comes to our minds, and the Spirit's book is there for us. And this question in particular came to my mind regarding the human life and spiritual progress. Guess the question 127. Okay? Or are all spirits created equal with regards to their intellectual faculties? Amazing question from Kardec, and amazing answer for the spirits. They are all created equal, but since they do not know where they come from, they must develop their free will. They progress in both intelligence and morality at different rates. Okay? And Kardec made a wonderful comment, as usual, from Kardec. Spirits who follow the path of the good from the beginning are not, therefore, perfect because of it. Although they have no evil tendencies, they must still acquire the necessary experience and knowledge needed for perfection. We could compare them to children who must develop and learn no matter how good their natural instincts are. They do not suddenly go from infancy to adulthood without a transition. Just as there are individuals who are good from childhood and others who are evil, there are spirits who are good or evil from the start, but with the crucial difference that a child possesses its instincts already formed, whereas a spirit is neither evil or good as its formation. Rather, it has both tendencies, taking one direction or the other in virtue of its own free will. Yes, spiritual progress, we are always in the same route. No one is stopped and retrograde. No one go back in order that the progress that they already acquired. I learn English. So I will never say, oh, I go back before I learn English. That's he is here. I cannot erase from my mind. Even when I come in another incarnation and I will be born in France, for example, behind the scenes, in my conscience, there is a archive, a file that has all the knowledge that English was good and done for me in previous incarnation. So it'll be easy for me learning English because the matrix is there. I already possess this knowledge. So for us to evolve in spiritual progress, always ahead, forward, we must working now for the future. Because in human life, we have our free will to do it or to do that. It's up to us, as Silvia pointed very well, the Teilhard Chardin, saying that we are spiritual beings, temporary in a physical body. But we have to take care this existence because our life is eternal, but we have many existence, many reincarnation as we need to progress. We cannot stay lazy doing nothing because even laziness can be tired. I get tired to be lazy. Yes, because you are not progressing, not doing things good for you, for the future, for your community, and you have to be active. And I can overcome a lot of difficulties to progress. Yes, I have to study hard to be a doctor. I have to study hard by a laws that to be a good lawyer, consultant. I have to work on my side to progress. Here, in our intellectual progress, in our moral progress, that is in our conscience. We cannot put a cloth in our eyes and see nothing. No, I can close my eyes, but I still know what's going on around me. That's it, isn't it, Stevan and Silvia?
Correct. Correct. And I
Every
completely
intelligence
agree.
effect has an intelligent cause. So,
Yes. Yeah. And my dear Elsa, and I think who is watching us now could be asking to to themselves why some people face more difficulties in life than the others.
as I said before, it's a law of cause and effect, and every action that we are doing towards goodness will be good. But every reaction against things, there are things that we should think more in order to react doing things. But every action, I don't need to react every time. Reaction is something really good. I react because I don't like, I react because I don't agree, I react this and that. But my action is I don't like something, but I can talk about it without reacting. Sometimes no in no good way. But every reaction, what we are preparing today for our future, will be happy or unhappy. Will be more difficulties or less difficulties. Our difficulties today, we have to think why I am entering in these so many difficulties that I am facing now with the families, children, or work, jobs, etc. So stop a little bit back and see this scenery and see what I have done 2 years ago. I discussed with someone, I distracted other person, so I wasn't good for my colleagues, etc. Of course, now I am um, um, having these things that come back to me accordingly what I have done in the past. Nothing is by chance. Nothing is by chance. As Silvia pointed or Stevan before, when I was entering here, I was listening. God never punishes us, never. We are the ones that prepare our journey or the one that prepare our future. So if you care what I'm doing here now, instead of doing things suddenly and making people suffer with my words, my way to say things, I can stop and rephrase what I have to write. Think before sending a WhatsApp message to someone or a call. Deep breath, water, pray, and do things. So we will make mistake for sure, but less mistake in our life. Less mistake guide us to the right pathway. That is, we are imperfect spirits. So we are doing everything in order to be perfect. How long it takes this the length of this time, we don't know. But if I live for next incarnation, no, next incarnation, I will be a better person. Next incarnation, I will do this and that. Who will tell us how many years we have to wait in the spiritual world to reincarnate again? So I am making my evolution, my spiritual progress delay. Who wants to be a good person? That we have studies about the good person, a good spiritist, and a truly good person in the gospel and the spirit's book. Tell us a lot of paths that the good person is the one that complies with the law of justice, love and charity, and blah 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 blah. Yes, but sometimes we cannot tick these points. No, I'm far from here, I'm far from here, and I'm talking too much. I have to stop now.
Yeah. Yes. My dear Gibbons, um, uh, as we said so far, we have these trials. Sometimes not a trial, sometimes is my choice, sometimes is my free will deciding what I need to do, so on. But how does suffering contribute to our spiritual evolution?
That's a question, isn't it? Queen of questions, I think. Um, it seems a bit strange when we say we needed to suffer.
Yeah.
And say, why should I suffer? And it's is one of the points really that many people who say they believe in God and go to church even, and seemed quite religious, if something difficult happens in their lives and challenge that, they immediately say, oh, I don't believe in God anymore because God didn't help me at that difficult time. I was alone, God doesn't exist. And sometimes people turn completely away from any belief and for acceptance of God's in their lives. And I think it is such a wrong thing to do, because one of the reasons that we suffer, it's because we are in a process of learning. And as we said before, when we reincarnate, when we come back to this earth, we ask for many, many of the difficulties and the tests that we go through. We forget about it. And but we do. Of course, there are some people who do not participate in the blueprint of their incarnation. It's undeniable that. But some people have, and I think, when we already beginning to question those things. Why am I suffering? Why am I doing, why my life's like this? Why do I have so many difficulties? It's because we've already come to a point of understanding. You begin to ask questions. And God does not impose on us the suffering. We ourselves asked to learn certain lessons. And it's, like everyone else, sometimes I have, did I really ask for this? Did I really think I could do it? But, we do, because we think it's only through difficulties that we learn. I always think about, in that book, The Prophet, Khalil Gibran, he talks about how you have to go into the fire, and say, for instance, the clay, it needs to go into the fire before it can become porcelain. If you have a piece of beautiful jewelry, that gold needs to be burned, to go into the fire, to be melted, so it can be redesigned into a beautiful jewel. If you have a beautiful ring, that stone was completely covered. It needed to be shaped. And all that thing that was covering the beauty of that stone needed to be shaped. And it's exactly like us. If you think about in terms of nature, you have a seed, you have to bury it. You have to bury it right down in the ground, covered it, in the darkness, and live there. And then it starts sprouting, doesn't it? With the light of the sun, with the water, and it becomes a huge tree that, either will give us lots of fruits or shade, or, some strong trees will allow us to have furniture. So everything in nature, you have a river and then a rock falls on it. So what does the river do? You started working around that rock or that obstacle and goes around. Whenever you see photographs of river from above, you see all the way that is all this going around things, finding another way. Nature teaches us all the time, and we are part of nature. We are part of the laws of nature. We suffer the consequence of the law of nature, but we also, I think, and I find personally this is an important point for me, is the fact that we have free will, we have a level of intelligence, we have given the opportunity to choose for ourselves. Sometimes we make a lot of mistakes. And then we have to suffer the consequences of the mistakes we made, or the bad choices that we made. So many times we ask ourselves, oh, why did I do that? You were in a situation, something silly, and you said something without thinking. And you say, oh, I wish I could go back. I wouldn't have said that. Or maybe you said, oh, I missed an opportunity. I could have said that. How many times we look back in our own lives and think, I wish I had done it, or I wish I hadn't done it. And it's the same thing. So this is part of the process of learning, which is because I always feel that we are like a huge diamond, our spirit is this immense diamond. And when it's first found, on the rock, unless you are an expert in gems, a real expert in gems, you will not realize that underneath all that, there is a diamond, unless you know. But what happens? A diamond needs to be polished. It needs to go to the terrible drill, and it has to be a diamond, a drill made of diamond to cut into a diamond. And eventually, you have that beauty, the light that flows with it. And it's exactly how we are. So the suffering, I mean, that's how I see it. The suffering is this diamond that we are being shaped, being polished. And as a diamond is only polished by another, we are polished by our own other human beings like us, because it is the confrontation sometimes that we have. How sometimes people don't understand what we are trying to do, and they're very critical, or they think about, oh, you would be so beautiful if you did this. I find this so funny. Oh, you are a beautiful person, but if you did this, you would be beautiful. And so they're telling you you're ugly, in that way. And, sometimes when we are betrayed by people we love, when we, we help, we do a lot of things, and we receive quite a lot of, if it's not indifference, but sometimes you can even receive quite a bad answer to whatever we've done. And the thing is not to carry this, because I remember reading this quote from Buddhism or something, that, there was this very wise man in this village. And one day this young man came to him and said terrible things to him. You are horrible. You are sitting there all the time. You don't do anything. You don't cooperate with anything. And this old man, this old wise man, sat there and was quiet. And this man was shouting and shouting and screaming at him and saying horrible things. And then afterwards, he got fed up because he had no answer. The way he was, he sat there, just listened, And then afterwards, he left very frustrated because, sometimes when people wanted to fight, if you keep quiet, if you just move out, let them shout, they hate that. So someone came and said, why? Why didn't you say something? Why? And he said, well, he was giving me gifts that I did not want to accept. So I let him go back with the gifts that he brought to me. I didn't want it. And I also remember something that Chico Xavier said, because sometimes he was very criticized. People were quite nasty about him. And someone came to him, but you should have said something. Why do you always keep quiet and don't say, answer back, tell these people. And then he said, this is like to have your hand in a bowl of water, moving the water around with your hands. It will only make your arms tired. And I think that's so good, because this is exactly that. If someone doesn't like you to the point that they betray you, or they are nasty to you, or they don't recognize the good you do to them, so if you try to explain, if you try to, but you did this, and you get into that conversation, they don't care. Sometimes they go away and they don't even remember you exist. And we keep thinking about them. We give them so much importance. And I think this one of the things that we need to learn in life. They are giving you, to remember. They are giving you presents that you don't want to have. Let them take it back. Forgive, let go, cry a little bit, and go on with life. Do your part. And to eat, because, I think when it comes to the end, like the Spirit Andrea Luiz always says, you are going to face, once you leave your physical body and you go into the spiritual world, you will face the mirror of your conscience. And each one of us will face that mirror. No one, the more they love us, want to us well, no one will do that for us. Each one of us will have our own conscience to deal with. And I think that's one of the things. Don't get involved. If someone does something bad, just think, oh, they haven't learned enough, and just pray for them. That gives you a kind of relief, that sadness, that thing that you feel, disappointment, all that kind of thing. And we help them, and you continue your life and live the best way you can, because really we are in this world to be happy. We have learned we are here, we have lessons to learn. Sometimes they are hard, sometimes they're not so hard, sometimes we have moments of joy. Sometimes we have nice friends that they are warm to us and they are loving. And when you think about that, oh, I went for a cup of coffee with my friend and we had so much, we laughed about something that happened. And those moments that we have in life, those things are precious, and we have to go on. And suffering is not a punishment, and is not something that God is imposing on you, but we ask for it, for those lessons. And those are the things that are polishing us, that are making us better human beings, and eventually spirits of light that we are. Sorry, I think I went on far too long, but it was one of those conversations, that
Yeah, I love this topic.
we
This is
suffer.
amazing. Yeah. My dear
Stevan,
Elsa.
uh, um, I have a small. I read this afternoon when I had a little time. I was reading about spirituality because we are spirits, and beyond the religion, we have spirituality. Before that, before the religion, we have spirituality in our hearts. Because even people that are non-religious, they are spiritual. And it says here that's very important to read quickly. Spirituality often perceived as a deeply personal journey goes beyond religious practices. It encompasses a connection to something greater than oneself, fostering self awareness, resilience, and a sense of purpose. Human flourishing, on the other hand, represents the ideal state of well being, physical, mental, and emotional. At their intersection lies a profound understanding of what it means to live a balanced life in equilibrium. No? This connection isn't merely theoretical. Studies suggest that individuals engaged in spiritual practices exhibit higher levels of happiness and life satisfaction. Practices like meditation, mindfulness, and rituals, such as knee worship, encourage participants to acknowledge humility and gratitude, essential components of personal growth. Isn't it? Where's Stephen? Silvia, on mute.
I think he probably lost the image for a bit. Sometimes he might have frozen or something. He'll be back.
Never mind. So, but is it beautiful when you see that people, even non-religion, they write good things regarding spiritual progress, isn't it, Sylvia?
Oh yes, of course. I mean, I think um, a lot of people say, oh, if you don't follow this and if you don't follow that religion and you don't follow that religion, and I mean, if you think about it, Jesus himself, he said, not everyone who says, Lord, Lord, we went into the kingdom of heaven, but those who do the will of my Father who's in heaven. So in that, he's saying, because there are many people who don't even believe that God exists. They, for whatever reason, they don't feel connected or some bad experience, whatever it is. But they do good things. They are kind to people. Because I think, we go to the golden rule, which, if you think about Christianity is resumed in that whole sentence of Jesus. And actually, this is part of the Psalms and something that comes from millennia. And Jesus put those things together. When that man says, what do I do to have eternal life? And Jesus said, you have to love your God. And then Jesus says to him, what does say in the law? And then he says, love God and with all your heart and all your mind, and Jesus said, and your neighbor as yourself. So some people are loving and charitable, and they they don't go to church, but they have a lot of religion in their hearts. And I think we need to understand religion as well, because it has come to mean something quite different from what the real meaning of it. And religion means to reconnect with God. That's what the function of religion. I mean, nowadays especially we see, throughout history, really, people using God, using religion, to do the most bestial thing against other human beings in the name of that God or that other God. And there is nothing to do with God. It's only themselves. They are the ones who, because no one can make you into a monster. You make yourself a monster. And don't use God, because it's not, God has nothing to do with our own, what the choices we make. So I think if we are good in our heart, it doesn't matter, it will get you to the kingdom of heaven. Whenever you get there, when you have shaped yourself enough to do and to love your neighbor. And it's challenging. I find it very challenging for me, because sometimes you see things that, oh, that person, my brother, but they are. So, but they haven't yet learned what, what it means to be a true human being, and, actually, I have something here that I found. I have on my quotation, my favorite quotation, and it's from Nietzsche. And it goes exactly from what you were saying today, that we are learning and we have to go through these experiences of suffering, of difficulties for us to get there. And he has this thing, his quote, he says, "He who would learn to fly one day must first learn to stand and walk and run and climb and dance. One cannot fly into flying." I think this is exactly what we were saying, because we have to first, we have to learn to stand, then we have to learn to walk. When we were born, we stand up, then we do, and then we start walking. And he says, and then you run, and once you can walk, you can run, and then you can climb, and you can dance. And then you go, because you cannot fly into flying. And he has this saying as well. He said, and we should consider every day lost on which we have not danced at least once. And we should call every truth false which was not accompanied by at least one laugh. And I love those quotes from Nietzsche, because I think it's true. Even I think in the midst of a sadness, we should dance, just romp around, try to be happy, and try to make us reach that point in ourselves, in our real self, that higher part of our being that is happy. And then sufferings won't be so bad, I don't know, trying to be optimistic.
Well, some people see the half cup empty. Some people see the half cup full.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes, some people get very annoyed if you laugh or if you talk, when you always laugh, when you're always in a good mood,
Yeah.
Somebody asked me, why are you always in this good mood? And I said, well, and sometimes, I'm going through a lot of difficulty, a lot of pain, but I try to make myself happy. So everybody thinks I'm happy. They get happy, and I forget my problems.
Exactly.
So it's a way of getting rid of my own problem. It's trying to make the best of it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it is right. Um, Let me see if we do have questions. Uh, uh, Let me see. No. Oh, Lou VM it is with us. Hi, Lou. Good to have you here, my dear. Yeah, I think it's to wrap up. Uh, it's important to say that all we are here in the on the same boat. The only difference is some people are a little bit more evolved than the other, but at the end, we are in the same stage, same level of progress. And we will not evolve, we will not learn if you do not start to respecting each other, to respecting everyone's boundaries, to respecting everyone's opinion. Why are we making war, trying to resolve things that doesn't really matter? So it's all on us. It's all us trying to think we are big, but at the end we are this size. So let's let's work together. Let's progress together. Let's evolve together. Let's make things thinking about, wow, if I move this piece here, who I'm gonna affect? What's gonna happen to that person? This is not a religion. This is not a faith. This is just the principles of life. Okay, my dear Elsa, my dear Silvia, what's their final words, my dears?
My final words is only to say it's about gratitude. Gratitude for living, progressing, try to be a better person every day, and serve with a humble heart as much as possible. A kiss for everybody. Thank you so much for your presence in our lives. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's about that, gratitude to life, to things, because today I had to go to the office that I work, and it's a very beautiful place. There's lots of trees and everything, and because it's a park, and all the trees. They, if when I was bus stop waiting for the bus, you could see all the trees, and they seemed all dead, and just the sticks, and I thought there's so much beauty on that. They look like if they are dead, and yet there is beauty in it. And I think there is beauty in life. There is beauty in being grateful for our lives, because it might have taken us a long time to be able to reincarnate and be in this life, and we are living moments of great discoveries, of great things. At the moment, we are seeing some. I mean, not here in London, of course, because we don't have any skies but clouds. Um, the, the 8 planets are aligned. Do you know what a wonderful moment to be alive? If you just lift your eyes to the skies, and you see the 8 planets there aligned, something that's not going to happen again for 450 years. I'll be an enlightened spirit by then. I'll be a spirit of light by next time it happens. So, we have to be grateful that you have eyes to see, that we are living this moment. And there is horrible things. Yes, there is. But then there is good. There are good people. Most of the people are good, and they serve, and they help each other. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to survive. So I think, saying complimenting what Elsa said, gratitude for life, gratitude gratitude for that we have God in our hearts, that we have Jesus in our hearts, and that we have wonderful people helping out and reaching out to those who are less fortunate than ourselves, you know. So I think. So, what are your words, Stevan?
No, I already did mine. Yeah, yeah, I already did mine.
And it's
So,
very blessed as well that we have people that listen, you know, come and join us, like Lou
oh
and
yeah, this
so
is so
many
good.
other people that we
Yeah,
meet sometimes. Yeah.
yeah, and it's
Really.
good when you meet those people face to face. Oh, I saw you already. This helped me. This is good.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to our announcements here. Let me share my screen. There we
And this
go.
is the last day for us of in January. We are
Yeah,
already going
China
into
is gone.
February.
First month of 2025 is gone.
It's amazing. I can't believe
Yeah.
it. It's my
So
birthday next month.
let's celebrate. So next week, 5th of February, what is mediumship? What is a medium? So for the entire month of February, we will dedicate the month talking about mediumship. We have received a lot of questions about mediumship, and we will dedicate the entire month of February talking about mediumship. Okay, so put in your agenda next week. What is mediumship? What is a medium? Also, this Sunday, we will have the talk with Alexandre Galdini, the crisis of death from for the year dedicated to Ernesto Bozano. Also, on the 29th and 30th of March, we will have the first European Spiritist Congress. This Congress will be translated in 6 languages. It is an AI. That's what they said. It's an AI. You put the headphone, and the AI will translate to the
Mm.
language you requested. So, because all the talks will be done in Portuguese. Okay. Also, from 12th to 14th of September, we will have the spirituality and psychology. It is a International Spiritist Congress regarding to the study of Joana de Angelis.
And psychology. This is going to be very, very special. And there is a special price as well. You know, if anyone wanted to thinking of going, you know, take this now to enroll because there is a good discount on that as well.
Good. Okay. Spiritist Magazine, and thanks to Kardec Radio for having us here, giving this space for ourselves. This is it from me. I want to say, everyone, thank you very much for your time. Next Wednesday will be here. Charlie will be with us. So our 4 of us here, and perhaps let's keep finger crossed. Dana Sisi will be with us. So we just need to confirm with him.
Who?
But I'm
Yeah.
done, Dana Sisi.
No.
So and that's
Yes.
it for me. From us. So thank you so much. Thank you, Elsa. Thank you, Silvia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. God
I'll
bless
see you
everyone.
guys next
Safe.
week.
Bye. Take care. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.
God bless.